Perfect. So this is our webinar today. It's scaling revenue through a winning digital experience. And we're all here, very excited. Let me get a sip of water. Awesome. So we're going to hop in here, going to cover the agenda, as I like to call it, the ingredients, right? Let's chop our onions. Let's get our stock ready to go. Let's get our potatoes going. So number one is why your digital presence matters. Seems like an obvious thing. We're going to cover that, throw some stats your way, and reinforce just how important it is. Number two, utilizing Yelp's free tools to be found by more diners, right? That's the goal. Let's maximize all the free things we have available. Let's capture those guests, get them in your restaurant. Number three, utilizing Yelp's paid tools for restaurants so you can actually reach more guests by having your tables available on Yelp and Google. And then number four, Q&A. So it's actually gotten a few questions that have trickled through before the webinar. So I appreciate all you folks, A, for joining on the chat there. Let me know where you're calling from. And B, engaging already. We got some great questions. A couple I'm going to be able to answer through the webinar. A couple I'm going to save for the end. And then we're also going to open up if any other questions come through. And rest assured, if I don't get to your question, we also will send any follow-ups and can answer those questions offline for you as well, especially if they're a little more on the granular side there. So perfect. We got the stove up and running. Let's hop on in. But first and foremost, who the heck is the person talking to you? My name is Christian Hansen, manager here, restaurant success team. Been at Yelp for over 8 years. I'm actually knocking on the door of 9. So well past a doctorate. I should probably get myself one of those red coats to make myself feel any better. But I'm also a former host and server in the industry. So I always joke to my wife, I will never roll silverware again. But I understand your plight. I know where you're coming from. And I have filled in many a soda machine of ice, and I can respect all the work that you folks do day in, day out. So now that you have a little background on my bona fides here, let's get into it, right? As I said, chop an onion. That's the base of all of our good stock here. It's why your digital presence matters. Kind of throw some stats your way here. Guests are searching and looking at restaurants online. So 72% of folks rarely visit a new business without checking online reviews first. Right? That's almost 3/4 of folks that are trying to find a business. They're going to go on there. They're going to check out, get an idea of what that experience is like from that sort of crowdsourced resource. But beyond that, guests are also going online to look at those pages for other purposes, right? They're going to check those hours. They're going to view those photos, going to check pricing, and look at that contact info. Not only do you need to have a strong digital presence, you are also essentially operating an online directory. So no longer are we going into the old yellow pages that shows up on our doorstep once every year. Now folks are going online, and it's important across all of your digital presences and spots that you have all this information up to date. So beyond that, let's actually talk about how guests discover their next spot, right? So number one on that list there, it's friends and family. Right? If I have a foodie, they love going out to eat all the time. They're going to tell me about the best pho they've ever had in their entire life. I'm going to take that recommendation. I'm going to get excited. I'm going to want to walk through that front door. However, what I'm also going to do is I might look at social media. I'll look at Yelp, and I'll look at Google as well. Because I'll often say that even though that word of mouth of your friends and family is important, a lot of folks are still going to go online to get an idea of what that experience is going to be like, to look at those photos, to look at those menu items, to make sure you have a general sense of what they're going to experience there. And if you don't have that foodie friend that's telling you about the next pho or those oysters Rockefeller from that seafood place, I am going to be utilizing all those other online resources. And you can see that's 75% of how folks are finding their next spot nowadays. Nice little screen, a little GIF on the right there. So with that, now that we know the importance of having a strong digital presence, let's talk about the free tools that we have available so you can increase your online visibility. Number one, tip one, photos matter, right? A couple of call outs here. I want to keep them current. You want to show the experience, and you want to have a consistent theme. And the important thing with photos is you want to show that whole gamut of what that experience is going to be like. Yes, obviously you're going to want to make sure you have pictures of all those great food items, all those really nice shots. You're also going to want to make sure you have photos of the interior, of the exterior. You want to see that ambiance. You want to see the menu items. You want to get that full experience so that folks know not only are they going to see what they're going to eat on maybe that white or blue plate that you're sending it on out, but what that whole ambiance is going to be like. I'll say for me personally, again, I'm married with a little 2-year-old. So whenever I'm looking at a restaurant, I like to go in there. And not only am I looking at, hey, how did that brisket look? But I'm also, hey, do they actually have high chairs? Do I see kids are having a good experience in there? Do I see a little menu with some crayons all ready to go? And if I do, I'm much more confident and excited to visit that restaurant. Or maybe I see the ambiance is a little bit more romantic and I say, I might get the sitter for this one and maybe just take out the missus for a better meal. So beyond that, not only when folks are landing on your Yelp page, are they seeing photos at the top there, but they're also able to click on and see the additional photos that we have. And what's great, this is almost a paint by numbers for you, is it'll call out when you look at a very established restaurant page that folks are looking at food photos, yes, but they're also looking at that inside, they're looking at the outside. If they're driving and trying to find parking, or they want to know what the front door looks like. I just ate at a restaurant 2 weeks ago that their MO was not having any signage on their door. So I needed to look for the green background and the brown door. So they actually had a prime rib Saturday. It was great. And I did get a sitter. But they also want to see the menu. They want to see those drinks, right? If the missus is a designated driver, right, or we are taking that Uber, then I'm going to want to get an old fashioned or two. So it's really important to have a broad spectrum of options within these photos here. And I also recommend always add captions to it, right? You can say delicious brisket, roasted 18 hours, right? Whatever the case may be, cooked low and slow, thrown in with maybe, cherry wood smoked, right? Whatever the case may be, but add those captions on there. It's also helpful if you're showing a picture of a mocktail, if you're showing that old fashioned, giving everyone a sense of what they might be searching for. But it is so important to have those great photos, right? We all eat with our eyes first, even when it gets presented in front of us. Tip number 2, as I said, folks are looking at online reviews, but they're also looking online to get that basic information. So you want to make sure that you have your address and your hours of operation updated. Might seem like an obvious thing, but I will literally tell you, as I was looking for a dinner restaurant for a party of 6, because my brother and sister came into town with their significant others, is that we were looking for a place actually it was a Mexican place because I'm in the Bay Area here, and their Google Places page was 4 o'clock. Their Yelp page showed 4:30, and their website said they opened at 5. And I will tell you this, we did not eat at that restaurant because I had zero confidence of what time that restaurant actually opened. And when I have that 2-year-old, I'm on a wing and a prayer. So I really don't have 30 to 45 minutes to wait. And there is literally nothing worse than showing up at a restaurant, seeing the lights off, seeing the chairs flipped over on the table, and finding out that your whole experience trying to visit that restaurant has been shot because of false information online. So pro tip number 1, you can log into your Yelp for Business account, biz.yelp.com, to make those updates. And you can also track some secondary actions. It's great. It's a ton of resources in that account there. You can track your overall traffic on your Yelp page, but you can also track secondary actions. So in addition to making sure your address is correct and your hours are correct, people are going to be clicking that button to get directions, get a sense of where you are, maybe even jot that down when they know they're going to be walking through your front door. And then the second piece is to remember to update your special hours and holidays. So not only is it important to show your standard hours of operation, but when the holiday season comes around, it's really important for those diners to know that the information they see is correct. And so for me, if I am looking, I'm going to have maybe Christmas at home and I see that a restaurant is open on Christmas Eve and they mark themselves as closed on Christmas Day, I have that much more confidence that restaurateur has gone in to update that information. And I know that I can actually, let the oven take a break and I'm going to visit that restaurant for dinner on Christmas Eve. But when I don't see that information, you end up resorting to me having to call a bunch of restaurants, which is hard for me to do, or people just skipping on to the next one where they can see that actual information. So you can do that, again, from your biz.yelp.com account. Update your special hours, do it ahead of time so you don't have to think about it. And it's doubly important if you also offer online reservations as well. There's nothing worse than saying, oh, there's a table available this Friday at noon, but it shows that that restaurant's not open at lunch. So which one is it, right? Now I'm not going to pick that restaurant. And that's just a bad sign that I may not trust that restaurant in general because of that conflicting information. A couple of major tips. And then tip number 3, we're Yelp here. So we talk about reviews. We already called out 72% of folks look at reviews when they're deciding on a business. So what's great is you have the opportunity to respond to reviews on Yelp from that biz.yelp.com account, since you already have their attention and engagement. And so you'll see there's actually 3 callouts on the bottom there. There's an opportunity to thank the user that wrote you a review. So maybe if it's a standard review, had a great experience, definitely will be back. Might be a little short and sweet. You can send a quick thank you, let them know you appreciated them sending the message. There's a public comment option. So for some of those raves that are particularly exciting, you can call out maybe a personalized experience, call out what their meal and entire ambiance and everything was like. And that's great for both the user that posted that review and for those other potential diners that are seeing you engage and have that personalized experience. And then there's even a direct message as well. So say you want to have a quick one-to-one interaction with that individual, you can always send a private message. Maybe there was a hiccup or an objection. Feel free to send that message and see if we can get that resolved. Friendly call out though, all private messages can be made public. We've all seen internet memes and other things where people take screenshots of text messages. So always want to be mindful of that. Always want to have the best interest of hospitality intact at heart. But it's great to be able to utilize these tools here. And then even for some critical reviews that may pop up, it's important to be able to respond to those reviews too. Again, a direct message if maybe it was a very specific incident, or maybe a broader message if it was responding to a critical review, right? I will say for me and for most diners, folks that are reading reviews, they do take them with a grain of salt, right? We're looking for just a large cross section. But I often find when I see a restaurant that maybe only has all 5-star reviews, I might be a little leery, right? Is this an Amazon page that I don't have any trust in? But when I see those critical reviews and I see a restaurateur, a business manager has responded to them, it actually reinforces and turns a critical thing into a positive, because it shows that even in the worst case scenario where maybe I as a diner don't have the best experience, I know that you have my best interest at heart. You're going to want to reach back out and want to rectify whatever hiccup or hurdle I ran into to make sure I had that good experience. So what's great about responding to reviews that are critical is that it's not just for the reviewer itself, but it is for those potential diners that are going on your Yelp page to see that even in that worst case scenario, you are caring about what your dining experience is like, and you'll make sure that that doesn't happen in the future. But heck, don't take my word for it here. You've been listening to me talk for quite a bit here. We've talked through all the machinations of the car. So now what I want to do is toss the keys over to my colleague, Keith, who'll take the wheel and take us out for a spin.
Thank you, Christian. I appreciate it. And I'm very happy to be here with all of you guys to kind of showcase a real life example. We have a number of clients that we work with on a regular basis. And so we wanted to highlight a really great page for you. But a little background on me first. So I've actually also been here about Yelp, 9 years on Yelp at Yelp as well. And I'm currently the associate manager for the restaurant success onboarding team. And so what that means is that I might get a chance to work with any of you guys if you are interested in joining either Yelp Guest Manager or Guest Manager Plus. So let's take a look in and take a look at our example here. Thank you. Awesome. So hopefully you guys can see this here. We wanted to showcase and highlight this great example from an awesome client of ours, Madres Brunch, located in Whittier, California. So if you wanted to take a look at this page, you could go ahead and search for that on Yelp and get a good example of what a really high quality Yelp page looks like. And the reason why I wanted to highlight this one example is it has a couple areas where it nails it. So specifically, one of the first ones and one thing that Christian really highlighted is that high quality photos are an absolute must. People eat with their eyes. When they first land on a page, they really want to be caught by those pictures and get excited about the food they're about to eat. But more importantly than just the food, which you can see, they have a number of really awesome high quality images here of their food that just look absolutely appetizing. And I would love to get in there myself today if I could. But also they're going to go ahead and showcase the experience by highlighting some of the photos that are actually taken by their customers themselves. And the reason why I wanted to call this out specifically is that every single person that comes through your restaurant these days has a high-end, high-quality camera in their pocket, in their phone. And they're all interested in sharing the great experiences that they have. And it gives you a chance to highlight your food in an angle that showcases the experience as well. So not everything has to come from you, the restaurant, which I know can be a big lift to get nice photo shoots done and stuff like that. But I did want to highlight that it's incredibly important to make sure that those photos highlight not just the food, but also the experience. You know, because of some of those floats that I just showed for their brunches, that they're going to be an exciting and fun time for your friends, and maybe something a little bit different that you weren't thinking about when you first got in here. One of the big key areas that they really nail is the diversity of color too on these photos. They're eye-catching. From the second you get on this page, it excites you and makes you want to figure out, okay, I got to get in there. What day are they available? Can I join the wait list? So there's some really good opportunities there that you can get them just from looking at those photos without any other information on the page. But that brings me to the next area that I wanted to highlight. And this is another area that Christian brought up, which was interacting with reviews. This is your best way to get a direct connection to your customers. And it is a great way for you to connect with people who are already engaged with your restaurant. So I wanted to highlight this great response from Aaron Z to Vanessa that was a really, really happy customer. And they had a great 2-egg breakfast, and they wanted to highlight that. The dulce de leche latte was something that she will forever dream about. And we want to highlight that stuff. That stuff is going to bring people in and get them excited about your restaurant on its own. But when you go ahead and give that additional response and highlight specific things, the fact that she highlighted that she was promptly seated and the service was exceptional, that they were excited to receive the positive feedback about their dishes, like all of that stuff feels a little bit more customer focused and a little bit more exciting. And likely Vanessa's going to bring all of her friends and family back here, and the whole process starts over. So just like Christian said, we get our first response, like first ideas from our friends and family, but we do a lot of research on our own right after that. So she may tell her friend, hey, come into the restaurant and check it out. And you're going to go to Yelp, you're going to go to Google to find out their hours of operation. And that's going to be a key indicator to showcase, what a great way to connect with your diners is, or potential diners. The last area that I wanted to highlight was amenities. This is one that you can do inside of your Yelp for Business Owners account right now, today. So I highly recommend that everybody after the call, if you haven't already, go in here to biz.yelp.com, log in, and take a look at the options inside of amenities. Many of these are customizable by you, the business owner, exclusively, and some of them are voted on by the actual diners themselves. So a big key here, though, is that you can kind of explain the experience by just highlighting a couple key factors that you have in your restaurant. For example, the fact that they're good for kids is a great opportunity. Just like Christian was saying, I'm a father of 2 as well. I have to think about that every time we go out, like make sure that it's going to be in a friendly environment, that I'm not going to be disturbing people, that it's a fun, lighthearted experience. So something that I can do. The fact that this highlights that it's good for kids tells me right off the bat, maybe I can bring them along to my brunch. And that's really exciting. The other big thing is like, they have options like free Wi-Fi, dogs are allowed, which is a really interesting one here. And that's kind of an exciting thing for if you're going on a Sunday and you just want to get out and bring your whole family, including your dog, and kind of get out there. They have nice outdoor seating, and they do a lot of different options for breakfast, lunch, breakfast, brunch, and lunch. So that is something you may not have known when you first just looked at the name. So those are 3 kind of major key areas that I highly recommend everybody get a chance to go and take a look at on their own page and make sure that those are optimized. Those are 3 key areas that you can really focus on. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back to Christian. Thank you for this little interlude, and I'll pass it back to you.
Awesome. There you go. And as I said, I have a 2-year-old. I also have a dog. I look for outdoor seating. When restaurants see me coming, they roll their eyes because I'm going to leave a wake of goldfish crackers and a little bit of dog drool on their sidewalk. So very helpful nonetheless. So let me share my screen once more here. There we go. Keith has already one up at me with 9 years at Yelp when I'm just right behind him. I'm on his tails. Perfect. So wanted to call out additional resources. So we have yelp-support.com. Some of the questions we did get were very specific and granular on reviews, on some listing updates. You can actually hop on there. There's a ton of really great information available to you. You can even have a search function so you can type in some of those questions as well. And then again, biz.yelp.com. That is the passport. That is the gateway to update all that information, make sure everything is looking sharp. And you would be surprised at all the really great tools and resources in there. A lot of bells, a lot of whistles, a lot of really effective tools for you. But awesome. Now I just wanted to highlight some of the opportunities for us to leverage the paid tools to attract more guests on Yelp as well, right? We got our soup stock going. Why don't we just buy some saffron, really amp it up and get ourselves going from a Tuesday lunch to a Saturday dinner here. So what is Yelp Guest Manager? Essentially, this is a front of house tool available for you where you would have online reservations, you have an online wait list, to-go management, analytics and reporting. You have a guest book with in-app profiles, and you even have POS integration for a number of POS systems that we utilize. It's a really helpful tool to be able to start with building a strong digital presence and maximize or kind of close that circle so those folks are choosing your restaurant here. And so wanted to call out once again, right? We talked about the importance of a strong digital presence, and let's talk through how guests actually do discover their next spot, right? It's a pretty simple 5-step process. First, it's search and discovery. They make that decision. All right, I'm walking through their front door. They're going to dine in or take out. They're going to have a great guest experience. And just given all of the attendees we have here, we all know they're going to have a phenomenal time at your space. They're going to become repeat diners. And now you're going to start getting that revenue rolling in day in, day out. So with that, though, since we want to be able to control the things that we can and then leave those steps 2 through 5 for you to provide that great experience. Let's talk about search and discovery and how Yelp Guest Manager can be a great resource for you so that steps 2 through 5 actually do happen and you get those repeat guests. So essentially with Yelp, we offer the largest restaurant consumer network in the US. So we have an integration with Google, which allows Yelp Guest Manager customers to have access to the largest network, right? We have 64 million more searching consumers in OpenTable and 71 million more searching consumers in Resi. So when you're going out, when you're trying to fish for as many diners as possible, are you going to throw that net out in a pond or are you going to throw it out in the Pacific Ocean, right? You want to make sure you have the maximum opportunity to capture as many diners as possible. So why not leverage the largest platform, the most reliable one, so you can get them to come through that front door? And so again, making your tables available on both Yelp and Google, Yelp for Restaurants is the only place where you can make those tables available on both of those locales. And I did call out, so we have an online waitlist component. We also have an online reservation component. So I wanted to highlight 6 gals here, which is more waitlist heavy. And you can see if I'm doing a search on that left screen of, hey, I'm looking on Yelp, I'm trying to find a place, I can actually see in real time what that wait time looks like. And I can actually go in there and join that waitlist as quick as a couple of taps. Even for folks that are going and they're making that intentful search on Google, they can see the same thing where they can check out that basic info on Google, they can click and join that waitlist right from their smartphone. And again, if they are showing the intent to pick your restaurant, let's give them as few clicks as possible so they can get through that door and get another butt in your seat there. We also have it in the same thing with reservations as well. So here's another example of someone doing a search on Google. They're able to see that reserve a table button on the right-hand side. So if I'm searching specifically for your restaurant, I can see that reserve a table button. There's clear intent there. I've already got it, the word from Keith to go visit that restaurant. I'm just gonna hop on in and reserve that table. But one other fun thing I like to call out is I would actually challenge you all to do a Google search of your own restaurant. You'd be pretty surprised, or maybe not at all, to find that your website is typically #1 and your Yelp page is often the #2 result on those organic search results. So it just reinforces how valuable and prominent the Yelp platform is, how reliable and trustworthy it is for diners, that people are choosing that one day in, day out before making that purchasing decision. And so again, just wanted to call out a couple of testimonials we have here. So Bob is the COO for Simcoe, calling out that when signing up with Yelp Guest Manager, they saw an increase in reservations and just called out it was a big win at filling seats, right? It's all about putting butts in seats, filling that restaurant, getting as many turns as possible while providing a great experience and hoping that we can capture a little bit more revenue since we're all living on the margins and it's the toughest industry for it. And then another call out from a corporate ops manager from Shibuya saying that they're able to reach and seat more diners using Yelp Guest Manager. And so again, wanted to call out, get in touch. So in addition to having a really strong presence, making sure that when people are seeing your strong Yelp page, they are getting all that great information, and we can close the loop as best as possible. So they can pick a table from your restaurant and have that confidence that I'm going to choose this restaurant or that restaurant. It's a great resource. I will recommend going to restaurants.yelp.com. I just called out a couple quick testimonials. I wasn't going to read it verbatim for you, but we have a lot of case studies, a lot of testimonials, a lot of really exciting information on there. You can request a demo. You can call that 877 number for more information. It's a really helpful resource for you. And then just calling out once more, sort of just another little highlight, a little stats as a palate cleanser, a little dessert for us here is that restaurants that do start using Yelp Guest Manager experience up to 2 times the traffic on their Yelp business page. So really, really exciting to see. And again, the beauty is if you sign up, you'll also have Keith and his team to be able to make sure that onboard process goes really smooth, as he mentioned earlier. I did want to hop in, do a little Q&A. I actually had one that was presented a little bit before, and it kind of is a nice little smooth roll in here. So let's see. So Christy from Dr. Smooth, I apologize. How can you increase traffic to your listing if you're already participating in ad spend? So really great call out. Hopefully you're able to keep track with the ad spend and maybe the upgrade or page upgrade tools that you have on there, that you have the most robust profile as possible. But being able to utilize Yelp Guest Manager, put those tables as being available online. Again, if they go to your profile, whether they find you organically, chances are on the ad that they click on Yelp, they're going to land on your page, see all those really great photos showing a wide variety. They're going to see all the great content that you added on there. And then they're going to have the opportunity to choose you as their restaurant by booking that table, either joining the wait list or making a reservation. So we also see that a lot of folks, when they're going on Yelp, they search for a lot of different restaurants before they ultimately decide on one. And if we can give them that button to say, choose this place, we kind of remove some of the analysis paralysis of it. We almost gamify it in a way where folks want to choose you. Let's give them a reason to do so. And let's do it without 1,000 different clicks or phone calls to make that decision. The other thing too, again, with that ad spend, you drive you can't, if you lead a horse to water, we can't make them drink. Let's make the water as appealing as possible. So adding all those amenities on there, adding all those content, there's a specialties history and meet the owner section. All those are really effective tools in addition to just driving folks with the ads and folks finding you organically. We had another one, Eliza from Hammond's Brands asked, how does Yelp Restaurants compare to something like Talk or Resi? Why is it better? Feeling all queued up. I appreciate that. So first and foremost, just wanted to call out once again that we do have the largest platform. It's the biggest network. So again, if you're, catching fish, do you want to go with that small pond? You want to go with that big ocean? Obviously, you want to make sure you're getting the most opportunity to catch them. And beyond that, we find that we do have a lot of parity with most front of house systems. There's a lot of parity across those pieces. So at the end of the day, if we can make it as smooth for your front of house staff, while also giving you a bigger network to capture those diners, we would want to opt for the one with the bigger network. But beyond that, let's say you're heavy on reservations. We have a lot of really great reservation tools. We have those POS integrations. We have the Google integration. For Talk, maybe you're a little bit more, say you're on a waitlist side, we have a more robust waitlist algorithm that's set up for you. We have just more confidence and reliability and trust with Yelp. And I'll challenge folks to how many Yelp apps are already on someone's phone versus a Resi or a Talk app that's already on there. And then we have, oh, perfect, Stavros from We the Pizza. I love it, democratic, and I'm now hungry for pizza. How to attract more seasonal customers. This one came a little early too. I'm going to kick it over to Keith because it's probably a little redundant to hear my voice every time here. Keith?
Thank you. I appreciate it, Christian. Actually, this is a fantastic question from Stavros, and really timely as well. Since we're getting close to the holiday season, we have Halloween coming up, we have Labor Day coming up, we have Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's really key to try to find ways to switch up your business strategies to go ahead and capture more of those customers. And a lot of the same tenets that we talked about throughout this are going to apply here. Updating your photos to showcase seasonal elements of your menu, talking about making sure that your seasonal hours are updated so that no one gets confused at when your hours may shift for any of those specific days. That's a big key there. And then one option that you also have, which is a really nice paid feature, which is Yelp Connect. This is kind of our social aspect that we have that we can implement into your page, where you can share posts as well as videos and different kind of cool types of media to your customers. A big thing here would be maybe to call out a pumpkin spice menu item that you've introduced during this time of the year for that fall season, or maybe you have a new Halloween specific menu item or an event that's coming up. Those are great opportunities for you to kind of showcase that opportunity to your customers. So a lot of different options. You can start with the free options and then kind of expand it, or you can use some of those paid options that will allow you to connect directly to people who are interested in your type of restaurant. So
awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you, Keith. And I'm not big on the pumpkin spice, but the missus is. So there you go. Let's see. We had another one from Sam from La Fiesta talking about the integration with Toast POS. So really great call out there. What's great, as I'd even mentioned with Yelp Guest Manager, is we have an integration with Toast. So it'll be more robust for your guest book component. So now you're able to track on that guest book that we'd be able to pull for you. Folks that opted into marketing, what did they order? What is their lifetime spend? You can reach out to them, have more targeted advertising or marketing if you have those email campaigns set up. You're also able, again, to save a guest profile. So if they are a vegetarian, if they did come for their birthday, maybe their friends and family or a VIP, you're able to save that information within Yelp Guest Manager. And beyond that, operationally, for your host, what's great is with that integration, if you seat someone at table 202, they get their check cleared, it's going to automatically update that table status on the app so that your host will kind of be triggered to know, all right, 202 is going to open in just a couple of minutes because that check's already been cleared, and they're able to prep the next person. So provides a more seamless process, and it'll actually save a little bit of your time from your host having to, get all their steps in by having to run back and forth from the dining room to get an idea of where everyone is at their meal. All right, let's see what else we have here. All right. Yeah, another one, how to get more reviews. This kind of not falls into how do we get more traffic. Well, while we can't control reviews one way or the other, as Keith and I were mentioning, it's just important to have the most robust information as possible. continue to provide the best experience possible for your diners. And just like you'd be building your presence online on the ground, right, for folks that are visiting your space and telling their friends and family, you do the same thing online. Just keep providing a great experience, keep engaging with your group, and over time it's going to continue to grow there. Let's see, is there a link or video for beginners on how to manage your Yelp web page? So really great resource, good question to ask there. Once you log into biz.yelp.com, you are going to see a lot of really great tools, a lot of really great call outs there. So I would recommend kind of hopping on there and just open mind, kind of click around. Honestly, it might seem like a lot, but it's a pretty simplified process. And again, restaurants.yelp.com and a lot of other resources are available for you if you want more specifics on any tools that are on there. All right. And then we had another one, just boosting your online presence, getting more traffic. One thing I also recommend, with the benefit of having reservations or waitlist available on Yelp, is that folks that are going on there, they often are searching for different filters. So like I said, I have the 2-year-old, I have a dog, I'm looking for a reservation because I'm well past the age of trying to rock in and wait 45 minutes for the cocktail for my table to open up. So what's great about utilizing Yelp Guest Manager is people can filter out, with those amenities, or they can filter out and just look for reservations and look for available time slots. And that's a great way to capture the attention of folks that may not have otherwise found you, because you're able to call yourself out as a reservation restaurant with availability immediately from the search area. And I also do want to call out once again, get a little bit on SEO, a little bit both online and within Yelp, is having that great content on there. Keith mentioned having a pumpkin spice latte popped up. If you have the seasonal dishes or items, it's really important to have captions for every one of your photos, because if I am searching for a specific dish, I would love to be able to find that photo. And if I'm searching on Yelp for a specific dish, having more content, more photos of those items is going to lead to more opportunity for you to pop up and appear in those searches that are happening. So you can also check out, what are the new trends? What are the new things that are popping up? I think mocktails are pretty big in the year 2023. So having some mocktails out there. My sister doesn't drink. So, when I'm looking for a Manhattan, she's looking for maybe just like a fresh spritz or something. So be sure to have that information on there.
There's actually a great question from Amanda Hall. Aside from paid, are there any keyword optimizations that you can make for your profile to boost your organic search? So yeah, there are some things that you can do to make sure that you're getting the best foot forward in your organic search results. First big key one is make sure your keywords are, your categories are up to date and accurate. You never want somebody coming to your page that's expecting one thing and getting something else. That's always a recipe for disaster. So make sure that you're in the right categories. And sometimes less is more in that scenario. The other big one is that you can also update the about the business owner section. And a lot of those areas are actually used for how you are presented on the organic search results. So any sort of information about your restaurant, and I very much want to stress that we want to keep it to what your restaurant really is about, and not so much keyword spamming or anything like that. That's not going to benefit you. So those are a couple key nice areas to make sure that you have that, but also just having general content up to date is going to help you get found more in their organic search results. And ironically, it will also really help you if you ever decide to go down the paid path as well, because all of that stuff is really collaborative together. So.
Beautiful. I'll do a little stop sharing here, so you get a little bit more of our profiles here. Looks like we covered a lot of the great questions that came through. Again, for any of the more granular ones, we're going to make sure we send a response as well, and we'll be able to answer that for you offline. But hopefully this has been a helpful resource for you all. This is going to be made available as a recording. Usually takes about a week to make sure that's up and running for us here. But did just want to reiterate, now is really the best time to get started with Yelp Guest Manager with those integrations with all the tools we have. And a nice little exciting call out is that if you do get started today, you can pay $0 for the first 60 days. So you can talk to our sales team, you can get a demo, you can check out our website for more details, but reach out with some really exciting offers for you. And ultimately, let's take advantage of the best platform, the biggest platform around, and sign up with us, work with Keith's team, and make sure that we get your restaurants as successful as possible and filling that space inside and out. Thank you all. No bossa nova music, but can't wait to visit all your restaurants. I appreciate the engagement, and Wishing you folks a great Wednesday, and hope we fill in those seats for you. Cheers.